Hey everyone, I'm Red Racing Man, and today I'm going to be reviewing all 40 tracks in Mario Kart Super Circuit. You heard that right, 40, 20 new tracks and all 20 SNES tracks. Although the format I review SNES tracks might be slightly different, you'll see. But as with my last two rankings, after reviewing every track in the game, I will rank all 10 cups from worst to best with math. So without further ado, let's go! Peach Circuit is literally as basic as a beginner circuit gets. It takes a minute to complete a lot of the time, maybe even less. And it isn't even visually that cool. There is a castle in the background, that's something, right? The track design is bare bones too. As Nathaniel Bandy called it one time, it's a deformed chicken nugget. Shy Guy Beach has a nice atmosphere along with nice music, and the track design is okay. I promise just how short it is. I literally have nothing else to say. Riverside Park is a surprisingly pretty good track. The atmosphere and music reminds me a lot of DK's Jungle Parkway from the Nintendo 64, and I love the visuals and atmosphere of the track a lot. The track design is solid too, with plenty of fun turns and jumps. The music is alright, but could be more energetic. Bowser Castle 1, like Shy Guy Beach, has good atmosphere and even better music, and the section with bounce pads is cool, but again, it's way too short, often taking less than a minute to complete the race. Next up, we have the Flower Cup. That is a rhyme I just thought of. Starting with Mario Circuit, which looks nothing like a Mario Circuit, just being in the middle of a forest. Peach Circuit at least has a castle in the background, but this doesn't really have anything that interesting to sightsee. Like, come on, there could have been bleachers with spectators, for example, and the track could definitely be more fun to race on too. Although I like how the map looks like a hand pointing a finger. That's a funny detail. Boo Lake is obviously a spooky track, and this one gets the atmosphere right. Although I don't see any lake in this version. What? The track design is pretty good too, with plenty of fun jumps. Some turns just might be a little too sharp, and I even have to let go of the acceleration button to make these turns, which is never something I should have to do. Cheese Land is a very wacky track, taking place in a world made out of cheese, complete with mice. The track design is fun, but again, the track is way too short, but I can give the track credit for having a good track design for how short it is, and the music is a catchy tune for sure. Bowser Castle 2 fixed the first castle's problem, since this one is longer than that one. And the track design is better too. This one has plenty of jumps and boosts, which is nice. It's a fun track for sure, even if nothing too groundbreaking. Now we have the Lightning Cup, which is the third Nitro track. Cup of this game. I can't talk. Luigi Circuit is way better than the other two circuit tracks I discussed in this video. For one, the visuals are way more interesting, taking place in a rainstorm with the Luigi blimp and buildings in the background and some nice looking mountains, I guess too. And the track design is nice too and fun to race on. Sky Garden is a very peaceful and creative track, and I love the atmosphere a lot. The track design is good. I like how it's shaped like a butterfly. The music is nice and cheerful, and there are some fun jumps. It's a little on the short side once again. Cheep Cheep Island is a gorgeous track visually, from the sunset, the water, and the giant fish and lighthouse in the background. And I like how the track switches from the beach to the bridges in a way. It's a fun track to race on, but one problem I have is when the track gets a lot thinner when approaching the bridges. I often find myself falling into the water instead of hitting the damn bridge. Sunset Wilds is what I would call a magnificent track. The track design is really good for this game and kind of feels varied in a way that's hard to describe. And of course, we have the visuals. The background not only looks appetizing, but the sky changes throughout each lap, starting with a sunset on lap 1, getting a little darker on lap 2, and having a dark bluish night sky on lap 3, which is something we all love about this track. And the music is definitely adventurous and gives that western vibe near the end. Now we're back on track with the usual Nitro Cup order with the Star Cup. Snowland is a rather held back winter track. The title is super boring and even fits into a previous track's title, but the worst part is that for some reason, the screen violently shakes while driving on the road, which makes no sense and is jarring and distracting. But the music and visuals of the track are pretty, and the track design is pretty good. Ribbon Road is another very creative track, taking place on a ribbon road, inside of what looks like Peach's castle. There are plenty of fun turns, boosts, and jumps, and I really like the music, especially the xylophone solos. It's a really solid track. Also, the blue stuff is not water, it's just a huge blue carpet. I know it fooled all of us. Yoshi Desert is a solid desert track. The design is pretty good, the music fits well and is pretty catchy, and counts as a good second desert track along with Sunset Wilds. While not as visually awesome as Sunset Wilds, I like the Yoshi Sphinx in the background and the track is bright and vibrant. Bowser Castle 3 has a way cooler atmosphere than the first two castles, as I like the bluish color on the road and castle a lot more than the tan color. It just looks really cool. And the track isn't bad to race on either. I especially like the section with the jumps. There might just be some turns that are a little too sharp and a little too easy to fall into the lava. The last cup of this section is the special cup as always, starting with Lakeside Park, which I actually don't think is as good as Riverside Park. The background isn't as cool, although there is a volcano, which is cool, and the track has some obnoxiously sharp turns once again, particularly this time where if you don't make the turn, you'll jump to a previous part of the track. But the track is still okay to race on. Broken Pier is the second spooky track of the game, taking place on a pier, but again like Boo Lake, we have a magnificent looking lake which makes sense since this is a pier. The track has a nice atmosphere too, and the track design is decent and good to race on, aside from some obnoxiously sharp turns. Sick of hearing me say that? Bowser Castle 4 is the last Bowser Castle of the game. Yes, there are actually 4 of them, and it excels. Like the other castles, there are plenty of fun jumps and turns, and this one gets the length right, probably being the longest in the game, taking about 2 minutes at least. And now I can finally talk about the GBA Bowser Castle music. It's an awesome tune. I love the rock vibe, and it is actually a sped up version of the Super Mario 64 first Bowser fight theme, which I just found out recently, and is a cool and somewhat sneaky detail they thought we wouldn't notice. The Rainbow Road in this game is rather interesting, as the whole track has no guardrails, but instead jump pads along the sides instead. This does make for some pretty insane shortcuts with mushrooms, and even taking small jumps is nice, although it does feel a little too easy to accidentally fall off the track. If it was a little wider, this definitely could have been a really great Rainbow Road. But of course, the track looks gorgeous and the music is nice, especially the intro that includes a part of SNES Rainbow Road's music. So those are all of the new tracks in this game, so now we're reviewing all 20 SNES tracks. Since they are all just copies of each other basically, I'll be reviewing them in groups by track categories, in the order the first track of each category appears in the game, starting with SNES Mario Circuit 1. There are 4 Mario circuits, lol, just like 4 Bowser's Castles in the Nitro half. This applies for all the SNES remakes, but the backgrounds are ripped from the GBA tracks, in this case Mario Circuit and Peach Circuit. They couldn't even change the color of the sky to match the original. Mario Circuit 2 is obviously the best of the bunch because we all love that jump. Mario Circuit 1 may be the first track of all time, but it's also ridiculously short and bare bones. And 3 and 4 have track designs, but there are some turns that are way too short and walls that go out way too far. The 3 Donut Plains tracks use the Riverside Park background, which looks like that track, but it doesn't fit in with Donut Plains. It would have been better to use this game's Mario Circuit background. None of them stand out. 1 is short and boring, and 2 and 3 are really frustrating. Especially 3, where it's way too easy to fall into the pond. The only good thing I can say is for 3, they added a bounce pad after the bridge, so we don't have to painfully press the drift button over the water. And the music is very nice and jazzy. Jazzy and better than the original piece. The 3 Ghost Valleys. Yay! They all kinda suck. 1 and 2 are bland and annoying, and the Ghost Valley 3 remake in this game might be the second worst track of all time. We'll get to number 1 later. The turns are way too sharp and it's so easy to fall off of. The 3 Bowser Castles. Not Bowser's, Bowser. I'll just say that they should have used the GBA Bowser Castle 3 color scheme to match the original more, so that'll knock them down a bit. I'll start with the worst, which is 2. It's such an awkward track design, the dead end can't even be clear of a feather, and there wasn't even a jump pad added either to make it worth its presence. 1 and 3 are decent. 1 plays pretty smoothly and has nice jumps, and I like 3's branching paths. As for the 2 Choco Islands, Choco Island 1 doesn't play too badly, but is ridiculously short and overshadowed. And 2 is as annoying as it always is, between switching from fat to skinny sections, and walls that come out way too far. There are also 2 Koopa Beach tracks. Koopa Beach 1 plays pretty smoothly but takes less than a minute to complete, even with 5 laps. And Koopa Beach 2 is the same, but slightly worse because of the water potholes, which can be annoying. And the background rip from Shy Guy Beach wouldn't be as blatantly obvious if they just removed the ship. Otherwise, the background works. This is getting annoying and tiring to even write the script because all of these SNES tracks just plain suck. Like these 2 Vanilla Lakes. They both have these stupid annoying ice cubes or whatever they are in the middle of the road, but I think 1 is worse because the gates go out way too far and the track is way too thin. 2 is a bit better since there's slightly more room, but it's still nothing worth playing. Also, because this track uses the Snowland elements, we get to endure the shaking screen again on both tracks the whole time. But hey, you know what's worse? SNES Rainbow Road in this game is horrible. The track is way too thin and easy to fall off of, obnoxiously sharp turns, and the turns are impossible to make without even letting go of the acceleration button, which even then probably wouldn't be enough to stay on the track. It wasn't for me. And they horribly botched the music, which is now painful to listen to, unlike the original. This remake is quite possibly the worst track in Mario Kart history. It's that bad. And that is it, all 40 tracks in the game. Before I continue, here is my ranking of all of the tracks from worst to best. Yep, as you can see, the SNES tracks are all clogged up in the bottom half. They're so bad. It is nice that this is technically the first game to have retro tracks, but these just weren't given very good treatment. They either should have widened these tracks, or just should have remade a smaller handful, like only 8 tracks for 2 cups. Now let's rank these cups. As usual, I added up all of the rankings and divided the total by 4. I knew which cup was going to be last place before I even tallied up the rankings, which is the extra special cup with an absolutely pitiful score of 37. Next is extra lightning with a score of 27.5, extra flower with 26.75, extra mushroom with 26.25, and the best of the SNES bunch is the extra star cup with a score of 24.5. We now just have new cups to rank. Told you all of this SNES stuff would be at the bottom. So moving along, we have mushroom with 19.75, flower with 13.75, star with 9.75, special with 9.5, and the best cup of the game is the lightning cup with a score of 6.75. So that'll do it for this ranking video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want more content like this. It really helps a lot and means so much to me. So I'll see you guys next time.